Good morning, everybody. Good morning, team. We have a menu rollout today, Saturday morning, and it's one that myself and the managers are very excited about. We are stepping up our menu. We're elevating our offerings for our guests for the holiday season. Let's get into it. As we open our menu, you'll see that now the front page is a nice display where they're seeing words like cane and juice heading into the menu. We now have our beverage facing our cocktail page. We have Agua Fresca back on the menu for $6. Over here we have a new cocktail called Passion Project. This has Pau Maui Vodka, Coqui Americano, which is an aperitif, Giffard Apricot, which is an apricot liqueur, Lilikoi Shrub, Meyer Lemon Sherbet. This is served up, shaken in a coupe glass, and it's a refreshing fruit-driven cocktail. It's perfect for vodka lovers. It's got some nice delicacies, some nice delicate notes from the apricot. We no longer have Mellow Yellow on the menu, so you're going to see a somewhat pared down cocktail list going into busy season. Next, we have our food page. So we actually don't have any food items on this menu reprint that have changed, with the exception of how we execute the chef's board. However, we have a lot of verbiage changes on the menu. Hi, so chef's board. This is in the hallway in the menu updates binder. The chef's board is now truly chef's choice selection of items. These items change frequently, sometimes even within the day or the service. Even we as servers cannot be sure what the chef is ready to showcase for each table. The items on the chef's board are unique combinations and flavors our kitchen team is experimenting with or have tested before and found to be delicious and interesting. The chef's board is for adventurous diners, those who love chef's creativity and are not particular. It's for foodies, enthusiasts, and people in the food industry. It is not for those with allergies or dietary restrictions, as those will not be accommodated on the chef's board. There are no modifications, no special requests, and it is truly 100% chef's choice. The chefs will not let the servers know what the board is each day before service. They will tell the food runner when they go to run a board what the components are so that they can present that to the guest. Thanks. The chickpea cake now says jicama slaw. On miso eggplant, it's a grain and seaweed crumble. Same crumble as before, just easier for the guest to read. Curry oil is actually herb oil, as it does have some curry spices in it, but it's predominantly herbs. The rice on the mortadella musubi is called seaweed rice. Down here on bean stew, we added the word parmesan. On pork belly and the squash pizza, we're calling it a runny egg. It's really important to note that you don't describe this egg on either dish as anything other than what it truly is, which is a runny sous vide egg. It's not like a fried egg at all. It's not like a poached egg. It's definitely not a scrambled egg. It's very important that you describe that it's a sous vide runny egg, and that you describe that the texture of the yolk is runny and that the texture of the egg white itself is soft and very moist. Hate that word. All right, down here we have pickled shallot added to taro leaf. We have on fish sandwich, garlic aioli added to the description. On pan-seared fish, we have sweet corn, cob, and puree, so that they know they get that piece of cob and then also the puree. Nothing about the dish has changed. And then with the chicken and the steak dishes, nothing has changed. We've just added the words Dijon chicken glaze to the chicken and beef glaze to the steak. Those components were always there. All right. On our beer menu, we have not added anything new. We have a few seasonal beers like the Choco Vesa that we're going to be running on the shift notes. We do not have the Coedo sweet potato beer on the menu. That's been removed. Next, we have our wine section. And you'll notice as you open it, it looks different. We have this, this is a beautiful illustration and article from the Pacific Wine Review, 1895 edition. So perfectly fitting with the timeline of many of the things that we're referencing in our menu. This is great. It's very process driven, talking about this hydraulic wine press, and a little ode to Louis Roederer champagne. You'll see we now have 2 pages of wine, and it's all amazing, delicious wine to sell. Up here, we have a wine specials page. This is not something we've done before. It's new. It says, "'Tis the season to drink wine. From historic vineyard sites to renowned winemakers, these wines are known for and consistently display impeccable quality. It only gets better from here. Keep reading and drinking." And then we go on to recommend 3 very special wines that we are offering by the glass. That's the 2006 Dom Perignon from Champagne, France at $48 a glass. The Bruce Nyers Placida Vineyard Pinot Noir from Russian River Valley, California at $27 a glass. And the 2014 Scherer Alexander Valley Cabernet Sauvignon at $28 a glass. Under each one of those is something that describes really why the place that this wine is from is special, and a little bit about the people who make it, and why they're special. So take a moment to read all of these things and really utilize this as a tool to give your guests a great experience when they're dining with us. At the bottom, we're trying something new and fun. So in the stock market, there's referred to as blue chip stocks. So these are companies that are consistent, they're known for great quality, they're hallmark names. We have a quote here from Warren Buffett, and it says, "And if they insist on trying to time their participation in equities, they should try to be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy only when others are fearful." So we are taking a spin on that quote. We agree. Be fearful of overpriced wines and be greedy when you see blue chip wines at great prices. So we're encouraging our guests to take advantage of the fact that we have these amazing producers, these hallmark brand names, these blue chip wines at great prices on our menu. So while they're here on vacation and while they're celebrating and while it's New Year's and Christmas Eve, we want them to drink Opus One here. We want them to drink Cristal here because we have prices that are better than others, and we have an amazing selection of those blue chip wines. So those are all listed here, and then we encourage them to explore those further in our wine list. On Wines by the Glass, you've been talking about this throughout the week, getting prepared. Wolfberger Brut Rosé is no longer offered by the glass. It is offered by the bottle, and in its place is the Roederer Estate Brut Rosé from Anderson, California, and that's at $16 a glass. Down here we have the 2015 Palacios Ramondo La Vendimia, and that's a Tempranillo from the Rioja region. That's at $12. The La Llama from Riviera Sacra is off of the menu entirely, not offered by the glass and not offered by the bottle. You'll see here that the red section may look smaller than it's looked before in terms of by the glass, but remember that you have these 2 tools over here to work with. In terms of the Dom Perignon that we're offering by the glass, we have a perlage system at the bar. All bartenders and barbacks have been thoroughly trained on it, and it's a system that holds the wine at perfect, bubbles. It doesn't allow oxygen to sit in there and the fizz to dissipate. So every glass of Dom Perignon that we serve is just as fresh and bubbly and fizzy as the first one. Okay, we have the addition of a half bottle of Chardonnay from Frank Family, Napa, California. This is for your Rombauer drinker. So somebody's looking at our menu and we don't have Rombauer offered. This half bottle is where you go. Oaky, buttery Chardonnay, however, still sitting in line with many of the things we talk about at the top here, in that the way the grapes are grown really sits with the type of integrity that we look for in any products that we buy. It's a state-owned fruit. It's from historic vineyard sites. So it's a high quality Chardonnay that just stylistically matches what somebody would be looking for out of a Rombauer like Chardonnay. We have a Catena Malbec by the half bottle. This is a great tool because it's only $28 for a half bottle. So people who normally like to see a Malbec by the glass, awesome tool there. Nicolas Catena family, one of the most historic producers in all of Argentina, and really pioneered Argentinian winemaking. Down here we have a really cool Grenache blend. It's from Gigondas. This is from the Daniel Brunier family. He partners with Kermit Lynch and produces this. We know Daniel Brunier because he's amazing, but also because he makes Vue Telegraph, which is on our list, the Megaphone that some of you are familiar with, the Ventoux. So this is a collaboration project. They have a nice little half bottle at $45 there. Great tool at Chef's Table. Here on our sparkling list, we have a couple Dom Perignons listed. So we have the 2006, which is what we're pouring by the glass, and it's also talked about here. But then we also have the 2004 by the bottle, which we have a few of, and that's at a higher price point of $3.50. Down here we have Roederer Estate, again just listed by the bottle there, that Brut Rosé that we added by the glass. And you'll see that Wolfberger is still here, but it's just offered by the bottle only. Okay, in rosé we have a few additions. So we've got Reverdy Sancerre, which is a rosé from Pinot Noir. You're familiar with this name because we also offered their Pinot Noir Rouge. Then we have the Domaine de la Tour de Beaune. That's a Bandol region rosé. It's Grenache based, and it's $68 a bottle. We have a 2007 Domaine Tempier. If you haven't heard me, James, and Toyga talk about this incessantly, then you definitely haven't been listening at Pre-Shifts. This is a rosé that really paved the way of introducing American wine drinkers to what truly well-made dry rosé from the south of France is all about. And Alice Waters, a famous chef, you can go ask anyone in the kitchen about her, a big proponent of using things that are well farmed and farmed locally in your area. And in turn, that led to her having a wine list that did the same thing. She was one of the first people in America to pour this by the glass for guests, and we're really excited to have this Mourvedre-based rosé on our list. On the happy hour menu, while we're on the topic, I just want to note one small change that normally $60 or less, referencing here, means that the bottles that drop down to $40 at happy hour are anything that's $60 or less on here. So the $96 Tempier, the $68 Domaine de la Tour de Beaune, and the $68 Reverdy are not included in the happy hour pricing. Okay, we've switched out Mary Edward Sauvignon Blanc for Spotswood, historic Sauvignon Blanc that's blended partially from Napa and partially from Sonoma, and that is your go-to high-end Sauvignon Blanc from that region. We've added a delicious Meursault from Burgundy, and that's at the bottom of our menu here at $145. This is a great go-to wine for people who like to drink white Burgundy. It's at the bottom of the list because it's from one of the most southern regions in Burgundy. It's a little bit riper, a little more full, but truly for Meursault, sometimes we talk about these, like what is a classic representation of a wine and where does it deviate? This check marks every box of what Meursault should taste like. White flowers, pear, apple, creaminess, salinity. That's about that. Really over delivers for the price. No changes on this page. Over here we've got White Germany with the addition of a Willi Schaefer Spotlese, and that's at $78. We've added 2 red Washington wines and removed 2 of them. So we don't have the Sagy, the Sangiovese blend on there any longer. We have Quilceda Creek. Quilceda Creek is a Cabernet-based blend. This is at 120. For people who are interested in what the wine publications say, who want to know about scores, this has received more 100 points or 94 and above points from Robert Parker than any other domestic wine. It's a powerhouse wine. It's strong. It's potent. Further down on the list beneath that, we have K. Vintners Powerline Syrah from Walla Walla, Washington. This is made by Charles Smith, famous winemaker. He makes everything from $9 Chardonnay all the way up to some very high-end single vineyard Syrahs. This one hits our list at $94. Down here we have Lingua Franca. That's a Pinot Noir. And this is going to be a lesser known, pairing of producers that's really all about the site and the place, and very much made in a Burgundian style. That's sitting here at $98. On here, I'm just highlighting and noting for you that we have a couple sharers on the list. Anytime we have multiple from a producer offered, we always need to be reconfirming the order, just like we do with Roederer. So now we have Roederer Rosé by the glass and bottle. We have the half bottle Estate, and then we have the Cristal. So we're always reconfirming the order on that. Here we have a 2006 sharer, Alexander Valley, Cabernet Sauvignon, 160. His wines are meant to age. They age beautifully. We're the only people in the state to have this on their list. It's a really special wine. We're offering the 2014 by the glass. What a cool experience to get to try a glass of 14 and a bottle of 2006 from an incredible vineyard site and an incredible winemaker. Over here we have another powerhouse hallmark wine added to our list in the Piedemonte section, the Veneto section, Quintarelli, 2009 Valpolicella. This is, if you want to hear about Quintarelli, go ask Francesco, ask him if it's good. This is a wine that is not marked as Amarone, but blows most Amarones out of the water. It's just made from the Corvina grape, $205 on the list. And then back here, just noting again that new Spanish wine that we have by the glass, the Tempranillo at $12.48. La Llama has been removed. On our spirits list, very few changes. Just noting here that we added a gin, Nika Kofi. That's referencing the still that it's made with and the name brand of the gin. And that's all for the spirits list. And now to the cane section. When you open it, you'll notice we have a nice cane picture here, referencing a few things from the mill. These were actually formulas and notes that had been made on blackboards in the blacksmith shop at the mill, at Pu'unene Mill. Okay, so then we open up into here, and we've tweaked and refined our sugarcane train. We have added a Caña Brava. It's a rum from Panama. It's on the lighter side up in here with Station 1. And then you'll see there's a few arrows that are clarifying where to go. Over here, we've reformatted the page with our recommended types of rums that we would like to have people, how do you enjoy this rum in these cocktails? So we've got Plantation Jamaica as a recommended spirit for a daiquiri. It's rich and delicious. Then we have Banks 7 as a recommended for daiquiri number 2 and a mojito. So when somebody's ordering a mojito, have a quick conversation with them, finding out what types of rums they usually drink. Did we review this page? Where are they ready to go? Banks 7 is going to provide a richer mojito, whereas the Havana Club, Añejo, Blanco, and the Old Lahaina Silver are going to provide a lighter mojito. We are doing three special things on our menu that we haven't done before. So one of those is a high-priced old fashioned that we're recommending. So that's with the Kohana aged agricole. This is not the cask strength. We have two Kohana aged agricoles. One is cask strength. It's very expensive. And then the other one is still expensive, less expensive, and it is not cask strength. So it's at normal proof. Here we talk about Kohana in general, and we say that this unique rum made from hand-harvested heirloom sugar cane needs little more than a touch of sugar and a dash of bitters. 2 years in bourbon barrel results in a spicy, richly flavored spirit. So what we're saying to people is that if you're an old-fashioned drinker and you like bourbon, you should try this as an old-fashioned. When you're here in Maui, try something that's made in Hawaii from heirloom sugarcane in a place that celebrates the history of sugarcane. That's at $20. Then we have the tea punch, which we're all familiar with. We used to have it on the menu back in the front cocktail section. So tea punch is a historic cocktail from the Martinique region, and we are going to start offering it in a self-assembly style like they do in Martinique. So you'll be hearing about this and seeing it at pre-shifts where they'll demonstrate it in person to you. We also are going to have a protocol or a guide more so in the hallway. We have one for a different cocktail and for the tea punch, and it walks through and says some history of it. What does a runner say? What does a server say to sell it? What do you say when you reconfirm the order? How is it assembled by the bar? And then how do we serve it? Then we have something very exciting happening. We're going to be offering a $100 cocktail, and it's called the King's Car Cup. So behind our bar is a giant red train, if you hadn't noticed. Let me just read this to you. It says, "Be transported to a time when champagne was sipped in the King's car. Our bartenders are ready to give you the royal treatment, a cocktail you won't soon forget. You will be presented with a gilded pineapple cup, yours to keep, filled with an intoxicating combination of exotic flavors and the finest spirits imported from across the seas. Let the fragrance of fresh-cut tropical fruits and flowers waft over you. The spices and spirits will entice your senses. Sip juicy pineapple alongside the creamy flavors of coconut and macadamia nut, all grown in the surrounding fields and orchards. Connoisseur's choice spirits, Kohana Koa cask strength agricole rum, Germain Robin craft method brandy, and Chartreuse VEP. Connect to the past, remember this time and this place. As you depart and continue your journey, take with you these gifts from our hearts and the land." So you can hear that we're selling this cocktail differently than we would sell our other cocktails. Here we just list the ingredients, and here we're selling an experience. So it's not that we made a cocktail that had a rum that costs $90 for an ounce and a half. It's that we've created an experience for someone that will connect them to this place and create a memory for them. To help you in that process, we have a guide. And so within this guide, there's the recipe for the cocktail, and then it goes on to talk about each specific ingredient, where it was sourced from, and in case of the spirits, a little more about those spirits themselves. And then we talk about, in here it lists again the verbiage that's on the menu. These are some brainstorming words, some other words that you can use to talk about the cocktail that are not in the description. Behind that, we have a photo of what the cocktail setup looks like. We have a bartender's guide that tells them where items are stored in the bar, how to serve it, and then how to make the cocktail. And then behind it we have a server guide, which talks about how to sell it, how to ring it in, how to serve it, and then a continuance of that is the runner's guide. So when the runner takes it, what they say about it, how it's delivered. We will be offering a glass of champagne, a 3.5 ounce pour of champagne to them while their cocktail is assembled. It's a cocktail that is going to take some time to build and assemble. We're using things that are 100% organic, and everything except for the lilikoi and the spirits are from our property or nearby in Wailuku. The actual cup that it comes in is going to be theirs to take home. So there's some instructions in there for you as a server on how to repackage everything for them. So it will go something like this. The guest will see it on the menu and they'll inquire, they'll ask you questions. You'll have read the verbiage, you'll know about it, you'll talk to them about the experience. If they decide that that's the right experience for them, then you will ring in the cocktail. As soon as the bartenders get that ticket, they're going to put up your pour of champagne. It's your responsibility as a server to go and get that champagne to run to your table, because we want you to keep that connection and that story going. So when you drop it, you'll explain to them, look over here, this is the King's car. If they're dining in the sugar room and you have a moment, please ask them if they'd like to join you to see the King's car, and take them in with their glass of champagne in hand and show them the King's car. All of you need to take a moment today and the next day to read the sign that hangs on the side of the King's car. That information is also available to you on Quizlet, so you can learn about the history of that, so that you can show your guests the King's car, you can point to it, you can talk about it, and you can share that story. They're sipping their champagne and enjoying. The bartenders will be assembling a board which will have the golden pineapple cup, the cocktail inside, which is going to have 3 garnishes on it. There will be a sidecar of vanilla infused rum, which they can use as a float on top. There's going to be ginger flowers on there. There's gold leaf, there's cinnamon sticks. So as you set down this cocktail in front of them, really, truly, the first thing that happens is all of these aromatics waft over you, and it smells like Hawaii when this tray is set down in front of you. And since that takes a moment to assemble, you need to let your guests know that it will be a moment before their cocktail comes out, and to enjoy that champagne just as the king would have while the cocktail is prepared. The bar, meanwhile, is going to get that whole thing ready, and then as you present that to them, leave that there for them to enjoy, check back on them, see if they'd like to have that even when the cocktail is finished, if they'd like the board to sit with them throughout the duration of their meal. It has a beautiful coconut half, macadamia nuts from our property, some macadamia nuts to snack on. So it's kind of an ongoing experience, this cocktail is, in terms of all of the senses of sight, touch, smell, and taste. Then, when they are finished, you are going to clear the board for them, and we're going to save all of the components. We're going to package them, and that includes the pineapple cup, which you'll rinse off, wipe dry, pack it in its original box. Everything packed now will go inside of a gift bag, and that gift bag will be tied and re-presented to them at their table. So all the supplies for that are going to be at the host stand in the retail section. So this is the opportunity you have to come and package that. I'm going to teach all of the hosts how we repackage that for a guest, so that if you're a server and you're busy, a host or a manager can assist you in this task. We're going to be talking a lot about this cocktail, so I'm going to try and wrap up this video. It's a long one, and we can re-release another video about the cocktail, and we'll be talking about it at pre-shift and learning about it. I'm really excited for this coming weekend and for Christmas Eve. Thank you all for your hard work. I'm excited to be busy. People are arriving to Island. We're going to rock this new menu. We're going to sell all the wine. I'm excited to look at the product mix and see like what you guys get out there and do. We've got sales incentives going on. Happy holidays, and have a great weekend.